Good morning, everybody, and I hope everybody had a great night. And the fact that we're all here today is we've been blessed to see another day. So, thank you, to God for that alone. Like I said, I'm in Alabama right now, and what brought me down here is family. You know, so helping out a family member or whatnot. So. In saying that, things can happen really fast or change in people's lives so fast, and you kind of got to roll with what's ever being thrown at you. So I just want to give thanks to the Lord for wisdom, for understanding, for clarity, and just for life in general. I was talking with Miss T from the SIP this morning on a comment that she had made on one of my videos, and I was going into a discussion with her about our girl Dodash, and I think she was responding to one of the videos I made about how everybody was coming on to her or whatever prior to my videos about what I was showing, what people was acting off on, and we kind of got into a discussion about it. But the big thing that stuck out me with the conversation that we had in our comment was about how people really do need to pray before getting on these videos. That's everybody, self included. Sometimes we get some information and we want to go jump into doing it. And I was telling her on the comment that sometimes when we say messages or we give messages, when we're not connected to God, those messages that we're saying are really directed at ourselves or within ourselves, and people resonate from those messages because they can connect to it, whether it be the right way or the wrong way. God can use anything and anybody, especially for his own purposes. Because remember, ultimately, the goal for God, it will be to bring people back to him. And that's solely all what it's about, leading people back to the Lord. So whenever we're using God's name in anything, we must make sure that we're doing it in a way that is in line with him, as well as leading people back to him. Because ultimately, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's not about anybody. Even though we're talking about DoorDash, it ain't even about DoorDash, really. I feel like she might be being led astray a little bit off of whatever thing she was focusing on initially, a little bit. I kind of see it a little bit, but that could happen to anybody. So it can happen to the big of us, it can happen to the least of us. You can get off track and do, sometimes I'll be recording these videos, sometimes I'll be talking and I go about something else and I have to remember, get back on the subject. Right? So that can happen. People can get caught up in fame, money, or whatever. And then it can become all about oneself. Some people see it as self-care. Some people see it as edifying yourself. Edification is better when it comes from others. Edify others, right? What you do while you're edifying others will speak volumes on yourself. You don't necessarily have to focus on you per se. You might say things that you thought about that reminded you of something that you did or whatever. That might happen. But when the sole focus is all on you and you alone, then it can become prideful to an extent, because it's almost as if you put yourself on a pedestal, so to speak. Like you're putting yourself at a level above somebody, And some people can look at it as like, well, is that life? Is a job? Is on a pyramid? Everything is on a scale. So isn't it? That's what we call levels. There's going to be somebody up. There's going to be somebody in the middle. There's going to be somebody at the bottom. Yeah, that is what we call levels. That is what some people even look at as pyramid schemes. That's also what some people look at as leverage. Okay? people up beneath me or up underneath me is what's leveraging me to be able to go out to the multitude. You can look at it in several different ways, and they all be true, right? But it's how you use that, and edification is one of those things. Edification, I learned. I've always know what edification was, but I really learned the meaning behind edification when I was with Prepaid Legal, and we were going to our meetings, and we were learning how to edify, and how to presentation, bring in, I have a very strong background in sales. I really do. Sales is kind of what drives a lot of stuff, because you got to get people engaged and hooked on whatever it is that you're talking about. You have to. I mean, if you don't, they're not going to listen, right? So it ain't absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. I'm not saying don't do it, because you do need to do that in order to be successful at whatever you're trying to do, right? But it's just in the manner that people may go about it that may come off like, ew, yeah, that's not resonating well. Especially if it's a underlining agenda that still comes back and you're not giving anything back to anyone. So this brings us to the video today. And I want to thank again Miss T from the SIP, because what she said was absolutely 100% true. Before we do things, sometimes we need to go before God and pray, so that way it comes off the correct way to others, right? Don't just be so quick to just get on and speak on something, or so quick to say something about someone. Don't. That's anybody. That's including myself. And I know people sometimes do it, self-included, because you want to hurry up and get it out. You want to hurry up and bake it. Either they hurry up and do it so they can get it out of their head, or they hurry up and do it because they really want to share it with somebody else, or they hurry up and do it because they just know they're going to benefit from doing that. But it is wise. It is wise to pause just a little bit and ask yourself, why am I really doing this? Why am I really rushing to get this out, or whatever, rushing to say this or that about this or this person or that person, or about this thing or that thing. And then find peace within yourself before, and get guidance within yourself before actually moving forward with whatever it is you're trying to say. Some people look at that as just simple planning, even if they take the God aspect out of it. Like, God would always be my center, because that's who I am. Am I right or am I wrong? I know God gonna lead me back to Him, because my thing is, I gotta hold on to the Lord. I have to hold on to the Lord, and I'm human, so I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm not gonna be perfect in no mean shape or form. I strive for it, but I ain't gonna be it. But I keep God, family, and others in the center way before I even look at me. I'm a very, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm a real simple person. When it comes to that, I don't have to have a lot of flashy things. I don't have to have all this or all that. I don't. And that's just me. I think I've always said, if I ever came into contact with a whole bunch of money, I'd probably still be broke, because I'd probably be giving it all out to people. Because that's just me. That's just me. Because I don't think material things, I just really don't think material things is going to, it'll get you fame, it'll get you popularity, it'll get people looking at you, but it ain't gonna give you morals, it ain't gonna give you substance, it's not gonna give you anything like that. So if you put all that into those things, then that's who you're gonna become, and that's not who I want to be. I never was materialistic, and that ran through me my whole life. Even if I had it, okay, I had it, but if I see you need it more than I'll give it to you. Or I'll try to figure out a way to help you to get it, point blank period. And that's why I said with me, I think I've been doing it my whole life. I finally realized that was my core, that was my drive, helping others. My passion was helping. And in doing so, it took me off on various areas of my life, And this particular one that I'm in now is my experiment. I call it the Let's Beat the YouTube algorithm. I use the first letter of each, except for I don't say YouTube YT. So I go Let's L beat B, the YouTube T, LBTYA, which basically means Let's Beat the YouTube algorithm. Experiment 2024. I had started that a few videos back, and I was basically trying to bring y'all in through the experience that I'm walking on now, for the sole purpose of seeing if what I've learned is actually correct, and find out what really makes it work, and then just give it to people. Give that information as I'm going, as well as sum it all up in the end, and just give it to help as many people that really want to use this for the purpose of what they want to use it as. Now, somebody look at it and be like, "Girl, you ain't got that many subscribers. What you gonna tell her?" That's where people be messing up. That's where you ain't got that many views, so what can you do for me? You can learn from anybody. You can learn from a wealthy person as well as a poor. You can learn from the middle class. You can learn for somebody who's homeless, right? You can learn for somebody who has 0 subscriptions, as well as somebody who have 1 billion or 1 trillion subscriptions, if that's even possible, on YouTube. You can learn. It's just how fast that information get out versus how slow that information get out. But that don't mean that you can't learn from whoever is giving that information. And it kind of what brings me to this right here, because I was looking at DoorDash, and I didn't think I was going to do too many videos on her, but I see I am still watching and analyzing and seeing, because like I said before, all this stuff had blew up. I had said in the comment to somebody once, somebody really needs to analyze and do a study on her, because just to see why she blew up so fast. I mean, I was intrigued. I'm gonna be honest, I was freaking intrigued, and that sparked the researcher in me, and the one that liked to find a pattern and all that. And that's genuinely me. It's not I'm just jumping on a bandwagon. That's how I do everything, So that's what kind of attached me to this. And part of me was like, I gotta pull away from that, and focus on back to the experiment. But something, when I was praying before this video, hit me, and it said, this is part of your experiment. This is something that can help you gather information, because this is something that's happened in real time. And isn't that what you said? Even in your own story, you wish you would have shared this while you was going through it, and you could have helped people along the way. Well, I think, to me, that's what was given to me when I said I had that epiphany moment. It was the experiment. It was going through the experiments of this whole thing, right? As far as my YouTube journey, as far as becoming a content creator and actually doing it real time. So whether I have the 40, when I started this, 40 subscribers, now I got 61 subscribers, or whether I get to 500, 1,000, or whatever, everybody is coming along with me. So that brought me to, I just had to share a little bit of that, but that what brought me to this review here on the video that was done from DoorDash this morning about She's So Fake. And I was like, oh Lord, me and Miss T was just talking about sometimes how you can make something and really be talking about yourself, but to others they might be thinking you talking about somebody else. But okay, so in this video, she basically took the video and titled what everybody's saying about her. She's so fake, right? But then some people probably see it and say, well, did she watch something I said and she calling me fake? That can be taken several different ways. Some people might look at it and say, oh, let me go in there and see who's being fake. I know she ain't talking about herself, regardless of what it did in order to get that person there. The title drug them in. She's so fake. And the title alone is centered around drama. She's so fake ain't gonna be positive, right? She's so fake. It's drama. It's drama and it's negativity. Even in the title, she's so fake. Because it's creating the negativity that you're trying to pull away from. Like you say in one breath, I'm trying to pull away from it, but then in the other breath, you're creating the negativity simply by the title alone. Right? So you have to be careful even with that. That's why, like Miss T was saying, it's good to pray before you rush on in and just start doing stuff, now that it's out there, and I am using it as a part of my experience. Even I have to be careful. I have to be careful not to get blindsided and pulled into something that wasn't meant to be pulled into, right? And still use it as a teaching moment. So bear with me, because sometimes I, even just in general when I talk, I start talking about something else and I go off saying something else. So I got to work on that myself. But let's gear on to she's so fake. She's so fake is in itself negative. It is. So when I first heard it and I listened to the video, I was reading comments, and sometimes when I'm reading comments, I ain't really paying attention to what they're saying. I'm just reading the comments, because, man, the internet never fails. That's one thing I'm going to say about every platform. I don't care who you is. The internet is never going to fail. The internet is going to, even when they think they being positive, is going to, really what make that video, the comments. It really do. I watch Country Wayne videos, and sometimes, he be having good messages in there, but comments, boy, them comments is really what be making those videos. So I found myself in watching his videos, I always want to go to the comments and just read the comments before I'm actually reading the video. So now I have programmed myself to, after you finish enjoying whatever it is that drove you here, go back to what you were listening to so you can see what's being said. And that's kind of how people get blindsided on what's either happening right before their eyes or distracted, whether it's truth or negative, because they'll just hear one thing and just run off with it, or read one thing and just run off with it, versus really digging into what was being said, right? But in my experiment with this, she's so fake, and just analyzing this particular video, it started off negative, and nobody did that but her. She started her own video off in a negative way. So if you started off negative, then that's what you're going to get on both ends. You're going to get positive with negative, negative, positive, negative, just because it's negative, because the narrative, that's what it is. The whole narrative of the thing is negative. So therefore, you're going to get that negative reaction. And that's how some people can play off of that. That's how some people can drive that to bring everybody still back to them, if, their intentions ain't right. But anyway, I keep looking, because I wrote some notes this time, because I didn't want to miss anything with this, and I kind of want to just go down. So we talked about the title. One thing else I will say about this video is I noticed, like, inside her video, some of the stuff that she was saying almost sounded like stuff I had been saying or other people have been saying as well. And that could be geared into the narrative of why, she's so fake. But it was things that I have not heard anybody say, like experiment, the experiment I'm doing now. So it kind of like, okay, is she watching the video that I'm doing? I'm like, I hope she does, and I hope it helps her, and it shows her that I'm not just out here trying to come at you. I'm actually learning from it, because in the end, good or bad, you can still learn something from it, as well as I am using it in what I'm actually doing as well. And hopefully others can do the same, not just trying to make it feel like somebody's tearing somebody down or worshiping and praising. I mean, because excessive behavior either way could be bad. You could be excessively giving praises and now it seems like you're worshiping someone, or you could be excessively tearing somebody down or being negative and it can seem like you're trying to break that person to bring them down and be their downfall. So you have to be very careful on the lines that you walk. You know, when I say you, I'm included in the you too. So YouTube, yeah. I'm included in that as well. So you have to be very mindful and careful. But back to her video, she started off relating to the people as the underdog. Once again, so that's still her pattern. She's going to relate to them, telling you her story out. She was always that person that everybody looked down on. She was always that person that nobody wanted to pay attention to. And no longer would I be that person. Right? And that could very well be her story. That could very well be her story. What she's saying when she's portraying herself as an underdog could very well be who she is. Okay? But when doing so, you got to be very careful that the victim don't end up being the perpetrator. Like, that victim in you is now utilizing what happened to you to harm other people. You got to be real careful not to make that happen when doing stuff like that, because it's very easy to go over into that if you ain't doing it from a sincere heart. So she told a story on there, as well as this time, this is the first video I think I've heard from her that I can actually say. She was saying, leave your comments, tell me your story, tell me stuff about you or whatever, tell me. That is her engaging you. This is where she is finally allowing you open up a door to where at least it seems as if she is giving you the opportunity to actually speak on her platform, so to speak, and to actually be a voice, where she's saying, be a voice on my platform, tell your story, tell me about what's going on with you, you know. And that's kind of what something like what I had did with my experiment when I was saying share your story. Small YouTubers gathered here so we could share, because if you go back on previous videos before today, that's kind of been the driving thing I've been sharing with everybody. You know, help each YouTuber. If they help each other, then everybody can win. You know, I've seen people where they were saying that that's not good, you know, as far as like subscriptions, and I'll explain that. What I mean by doing that and how I feel like it can help, because without subscriptions, without people actually subscribing you just to initially click on that video, it ain't gonna get pushed out. So for a small YouTuber, subscriptions is important, and that second thing is to engage the people, to keep them on there long enough on your video just for it to be considered a view. Now, that might not be what the larger platforms need, because now it's not about the subscription, because you got the eyes on you. You better have the stuff to keep, right? So that's what I mean by it is important. And when people be like, oh, it ain't important, that's not important. Yeah, it is, because first you got to get the 1,000 subscribers, and then you have to get the 4,000 watch hours, right? So I'm trying to educate as I'm talking about this as well, so it can add value to people. And it's not just, oh, I'm talking about